Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Precious Metal Summit 2019 here in Zurich, and we move on with Generation Mining, and the chairman, Kerry Knoll, is here now to give us for the first time an insight into their terrific company. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, great to have you here. Generation Mining, what's the company about? Where are you based? What are you doing?
Generation Mining is a Canadian company. Our project is in Canada. Our head office is also in Canada, both in the province of Ontario. We're developing what is the largest undeveloped palladium property in North America. It's called Marathon Palladium. It's located in Northern Ontario.
Okay, fantastic. So 2019, what was, let's say, the important things you did on the property?
Well, essentially, 2019 was the creation of the company. We purchased the property from Sibanye Stillwater in July.
Which we know well.
Yes, of course. In July of 2019. Immediately after that, in August, we started drilling. We drilled 12,000 meters of drilling.
Wow.
And we also, and we're still waiting for most of those results to come back. The other main thing we did was we did a new resource estimate. And the resource estimate estimated that there was about 7 million ounces of palladium equivalent in an open pit deposit. And our next step is to do a preliminary economic assessment on those ounces, and that should be ready in December next month.
Fantastic. When you say palladium equivalent, so
Yes.
there's other metals associated.
That's right.
Can you give us
Sure.
a little bit more detail? What is it?
It's a multi-metal deposit, so about half of the value is in palladium, and then the rest of it is platinum, gold, and copper. There's almost 800 million pounds of copper, as well as 3.2 million ounces of palladium, 1 million ounces of platinum, and about 400,000 ounces of gold.
Wow, that sounds like a big boy.
It is a big deposit.
Fantastic. So when you said you just, you're a new company, when you have IPO'd, how much money have you raised in the IPO, I would call it, and how much money have you spent, meaning what's the financial situation?
So we raised $10 million this year, Canadian dollars, and we paid 3 of that, as well as some shares to Sibanye to purchase the property, and with other expenses around the transaction. And we've spent about $3 million on the property, and we should finish this year with about 2 million Canadian dollars left in the bank, and that will get us well into next year because we're not doing a lot of exploration over the winter. We will be our next step will be to start a feasibility study on the project.
Fantastic. So with the feasibility, would it be a pre-feasibility or already a feasibility?
No, we'll do a feasibility study. The reason is that there have been 2 feasibility studies done on the project before.
Okay.
The first one was done in 2000.
You have that data,
Yes,
hopefully.
we have it all.
Great.
And the first one was done in 2010 when palladium was trading at only $320 an ounce. The second one was done in 2014 when palladium was trading at $530 an ounce. Now palladium's trading at over $1,600 an ounce. So now it's a project whose time has finally come.
So how much money do you think will this feasibility study cost, and how long will it take?
We haven't costed it out yet. We're just starting to talk to companies about doing it, but it'll probably be around $2 million. Because of all the work that was done previously.
Yeah, fantastic. So that's very decent, I would say.
Yes.
And do you have to do, let's say, from the old drill core, you do some relogging, or how does that work?
We've already done all that.
That's all done?
We did that over the
fantastic.
summer. Yeah.
Super. So we can say in 2020, the feasibility might be done completely?
It'll be done probably in the third quarter of 2020. And at that time, we will restart the permitting program because you need permits to build a mine, and we want to get that going as soon as possible. A previous owner of the company, previous to Sibanye, was called Stillwater, and Stillwater spent $35 million on the permitting process, and we have all that data, and we can use all that data.
Yeah. So that's great that you have purchased that also. In addition, that gives you a lot of insight and confidence into the project for sure. So let's assume feasibility goes well, everything comes the way you wanted it. Then you can start permitting, of course, and then you want to bring it by yourself in production, or you want to partner again with Sibanye Stillwater?
Well, they are our partner.
Yeah.
They have retained a minimum of 20% interest in the project, and it could, in certain scenarios, their interest could go higher. And so we've already got a partner in it. So the goal will be to build it ourselves. However, in my experience in the mining business and in the last company I had, for example, when you do a PEA, and if the numbers are good enough, probably a bigger company will take us over, because there's a very big shortage of good palladium projects in the world, especially in countries of safe jurisdictions.
That is exactly the point. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I would call it from your metal mixture, you have on the one hand security, that's gold, and on the other hand, you have all the future metals we need for e-transportation, e-mobility, industry 4.0, right?
Well, most of the palladium isn't really an e-metal. It's more, what palladium is mostly used for is to clean the exhaust of cars, of gasoline and to some extent diesel-powered cars. Diesel power actually uses platinum and gasoline uses palladium. And what's happened is the governments of countries in Europe and in China have decided that the exhaust needs to be cleaner. So they've had to up the amount of palladium that they use in each car, but there's no new mines being built. And so there's no new supply, and yet you've got all this new demand, and therefore you've had the price go up 400% since 2016. And there's no real end to it in sight because no one is building any new mines. And palladium is one of the only things that is actually required by law to be in every car that is sold.
That's right. And I heard already that also the motor manufacturers are experimenting, like how can we maybe substitute palladium with platinum, and can we do order cuts maybe for both type of combustion engines. And what I see here also, especially in Europe, I would call it, is the hybrid market is going through the roof. So you still have combustion and E.
Well, interesting you would bring that up because the hybrid cars use more palladium than gasoline regular cars. And that's because the catalytic converter only works when it's very hot. And in a hybrid, it's getting hot, cold. So it requires approximately 60% more palladium in a hybrid car than in a regular car.
Wow, fantastic. Super. Great. Well, I would say a fantastic project you have. You are catched up. It looks like really you're on the high-speed path towards, let's say, feasibility, then production. And you have the right partners. What can go wrong?
Yes. Well, it's mining. Lots can go wrong.
Right.
But our job is to fix those things.
Yeah, exactly. Now, in my perfect jurisdiction, of course. And so from that side, we wish you all the best and look forward to some good news for it in 2020.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, there was Kerry Knoll, the chairman of Generation Mining, and you heard it, probably the next platinum, palladium, gold producer here out of Canada. And the company is really on a fast track because they bought the project this year and went public, of course. And on the other side, they inherited all the necessary data. So this is why they can also jump to a direct feasibility study. And that saves a lot of time and money. And I would suggest you check out the company. Thanks for watching us, and bye-bye from Zurich.